It's a very important phrase that I made up right there on the spot. And it is going to be phase 2 on the offense. Atlanta playing defense here, running pretty standard 3-3. Going to be bringing Gator on the Rhine. Phase 2 looks like they're going to be actually pointing out on the triple DPS, which on this map, with ATL on the Ashe, which you don't see Ashe quite as much in these triple DPS setups, especially for Hollywood first. You might often see like a Widow, or maybe even just someone else tired like a Hanzo. So with the Ashe, I think they can control this high ground a lot more effectively. Look for like both for their flanks.
Well, I think the hope here is that they're worried about the Pharah, where usually the Pharah commands more attention. That's going to leave A10 room to work with. Nice boop back on the dance. Doesn't let him get the pile driver onto the bulk of Atlanta. And Atlanta, they're just going to casually hold back here. I mean, it's up to phase 2 to do critical damage from above first.
Right now, Atlanta can't really do anything at all because the only target they can catch unless they get a stun is going to be Dance. So they're looking for Pika. They're looking for that opportunity. Is right now Sox is being aggressive because look how low the Diva is.
They're getting poked down really heavily, but they also lose their Hammond. So phase 2, they had a lot of momentum going there. Atlanta, 3 to 4 members were down below half, but they weren't able to get the finishing damage. Dance commits a little bit too early. And as a result, phase 2, they have to back up.
That's back up. The Sox will have the barrage. So there is an opening. They need Pika. They really need Pika to get this EMP because even with the pile driver from Dan's, there's always the possibility that Dan's gets evaporated again, and also the pile driver does not negate Diva's Matrix. Diva's Matrix and the bubbles can still come out and stop that barrage. So it's on Pika to build that combo for phase 2 when they want to engage.
We see Hawk right now going up and looking for Sox. Sox, meanwhile, just trying to get away from Hawk, holding onto the barrage, does not want to throw it into the Diva. And Hawk just hunts him on down, takes him out of the sky. Man advantage now to Atlanta, and Atlanta can just be a little bit more aggressive as a result as Saucy burns down 2. Support line taken down.
It was the double. It was actually got the collateral there with the right click there. High energy Zarya does do a lot of damage with those right clicks. And you saw Sox actually drop below into that alley for that flank. Looked like they were going to commit the barrage when Dan's goes in, but there was no one there. So then Sox is on the ground, and because he's so low to the ground, Hawk could just hunt him.
This is looking pretty grim for phase 2. 2 minutes burned off the clock. Atlanta still in a very good spot.
Atlanta currently hold on to 3 ults. Still have the grab, the bomb, and the beat. All more than enough, but now that Pika has this EMP, Astro cannot get caught. Cannot get caught here by that EMP, but he also has it in time to keep his team alive from this barrage. He needs to make sure it's timed well enough.
Valkyrie used early. Here comes the barrage on the other side. Sox is down. Phase 2 moving in. Off of that, the barrage maybe not as effective, but the rest of the fight working out well for phase 2 here. Bomb gonna be up here from Atlanta, trying to buy a little bit of space as respawns need to come back in. Meanwhile, you have A10 on the assault, gonna drop the bomb directly in. Hawk, though, finds his counterpart in Dan's, and Atlanta, even though they've given up some progress on the point, they can still recontest.
They can still recontest because Astro comes out the beat, but he's dead. Can Kodak get trance, though? Kodak is coming up on that trance, and his Gator's still alive. There's a possibility for the trance to come up, recontest, and have Saucy's grab. There's the grab for Saucy.
Graviton and Gator, though, back into the fight. Pika is gone in Atlanta. They're just too meaty. Even though A10's been doing so much damage, Ashe herself cannot go onto the point.
Yeah, Ashe can't be the one to contest Saucy. He's going to take down the Mercy as well. And that's recontest. That is recontest for Atlanta. Phase 2 couldn't overcommit on any of these fights. They didn't have the full members that they needed. They didn't have the finish. And that's sort of the problem with triple DPS is that you need to control point. But if you want to chase for frags, you're not controlling point, and they didn't want to overcommit because they're already down players.
Meanwhile, for Atlanta, they're tanky. And it's really difficult to remove everyone from the point. It has to be just a full clean sweep where you don't get control. And now phase 2 down to the final fight.
Sox rotating in over the high ground, looking for this poke. Doesn't have another barrage. Nishik will have another
down,
and he's down.
Just sniped out of the sky by Saucy. Sorry, on the other end, and now you see Atlanta. They take advantage. They dive on in, and phase 2. They're not really gonna have full time to reset here. It's final 13 seconds. This is likely it.
10 seconds alive. Nishik going down late. No Transcendence, no ults. Phase 2, they'll have EMP Barrage, but they'll have no support for them at all. This entire fight is if can Dance touch, great. But then can they set up this EMP Barrage? Can they even get on point?
It's a ritual Hammond sacrifice. Throw a hamster on the point, buy a little bit of time, and hope for the best. They have the EMP, but Saucy's already done too much damage. It's 3 for Saucy in the back. And that's going to be a full hold for Atlanta. Phase 2, they get 81%, so technically they could still win here in Hollywood, but it is looking very grim. And we have a DC out here from the Phase 2 side.
Bye-bye, Phase 2, whoever that may be. And Phase 2 committed extremely hard on that triple DPS strategy when they really didn't have a lot of success. No. After that first EMP Barrage, after that was used, if you don't win the point then, you almost always have to swap because there's no way that you can effectively fight on the point and build up those ults in time, which what you saw is that, sure, they finally got ults back in the end, But the fight was over. The round was over. They'd have to then touch point and stagger in. So really an overcommittal on that composition when they weren't finding a lot of success. They had that one good fight, but they couldn't clean it up. And when that happens, that's when you have to reevaluate. It's like, well, we have a minute or maybe a little over a minute left. There's no way we build our ults in time, especially with how Atlanta have been playing, where they're playing passive and only engaging once they have ults up, once they see an opening there with a strong rotation. Phase 2, maybe just not realizing their win condition.
Perhaps not. And, to remind everyone of the stakes going in here, we'll put aside the side story of Atlanta wanting the 28-0, even though it is a very entertaining side story. Let's just look at the series as it is. Atlanta right now is up 2-0. Phase 2, if they do not have the fuller hold here, if they do not hold Atlanta below 80%, well, that's going to be the end of the series. Atlanta will be 3-0 in the series, and of course, that's it. You don't get a chance to bring it back from there. So Phase 2, they do not want to begin their series here on a loss per season. They definitely need to have quite a momentous hold here.
So now, going to be Atlanta on this offense. I imagine if I'm Atlanta and I see the point percentage, and I know I only have to take first, I just play 3-3. I play a standard 3-3. I put Gator on the Rhine, unless Phase 2 plays something wonky, like maybe a bunker variation or something. Because what is the best at playing on point? 3-3. 3-3 is a master of holding the objective.
Well, the other option here, too, is that if you only have to win one good fight and you don't have to worry about first, that's also where you can run a 3-2-1, just the Sombra Goat setup. And that's also really good as well, because as long as you manage your ult economy right, one good EMP can bring you in. But I think regardless here, Atlanta has plenty of good options to make up the difference. I think Phase 2 is in a very, very difficult spot. But for being in a difficult spot, the composition they're showing on defense right now, probably one of the better ones they can run. I fully agree with running Orisa defenses when you have to go for fuller holds.
So Atlanta getting ready to roll out Phase 2. On that bunker composition, they have Pika on Sombra. Could just be a scout, though, and he's going to swap and go back to Diva. But if they play Sombra, no Diva, it's so much pressure is going to be on Pika to get this EMP early.
Well, not only that, it's going to be a lot of pressure on A10 to just simply overperform. And there it is for Atlanta. Of course, it's not quite a 3-2-1. They still have Hawk and Hanzo, but they're playing Saucy to Sombra. And I still think that's a good move for Atlanta when they only have to win one big fight.
It's triple DPS, solo Orisa tank versus triple DPS, solo Orisa tank.
Oh, already! Hawk striking! Getting down Mercy on the other side, left gone. And this is quite bad here for Phase 2. Atlanta on the fast break, Sugar Free. You have more room to work with. The sustain for Phase 2 not going to be there. The pressure on A10 to get a big pickoff, more important than ever. Sox is down. It's all up to A10, but A10 is way too low, and A10 is down.
And even if Sugar Free would have gone down to there, the point presence was going to be so high for Atlanta Academy. That is going to be map. That's going to be Series 3-0 for Atlanta Academy off of those early pickoffs.
So what we've seen here so far, to Atlanta's credit, Atlanta is remarkably dominant, so long as it's not on Assault.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a bad defense on Assault, then Atlanta will probably roll you, is what it looked like here. Because that was kind of one-sided. But was that really because of Atlanta being so dominant, or was that because of Phase 2 overcommitting to that triple DPS on their offense, right? So you can make, maybe there's a little bit of conclusions against a stronger team that another team would have just swapped off triple DPS on offense, triple deeps on offense. It would have had a much different game.
Yeah, and it was really sad for the offensive Phase 2 there, where they had plenty of good pickoffs. The problem is that when the remaining members of Atlanta are still tanky, you can't just run up and get into melee range on Nash. It's not the way the hero works. So you saw A10 with plenty of room to work with, getting plenty of good picks, but it didn't result in enough progress on the point, and that's just the unfortunate reality when you run heavy DPS comps, where it was actually recently where Monty had a good talk about this on podcast going, well, why is 3-3 so dominant? Why would something like 2-2-2 be better all in all? And one of the points he brought up was that, well, you're an objective-based game, and you have these compositions that like getting on the point. And other compositions have a much harder time actually getting point presence. So it's no surprise why 3-3 has been so dominant over the last year.
So it is going to be a series over Atlanta Academy. They're going up 3-0 now. Phase 2, it's still early in the season. Losing is not a big deal. And also, they can still take the map. Map score at the end of the day, especially if you're on that fringe, on that edge of playoffs, map score can make the difference. We saw it make the difference last season. So you need to get this last map for Phase 2. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but they would like to. And it's clear that they probably can if they just put up a strong performance, maybe don't overcommit to comps.
Well, the one upside for them is that if Funny Astro, Darth Astro himself, is able to commit with this plan of tyranny. If Atlanta does go 28-0, technically it doesn't matter if they get a map because then everyone would have lost to Atlanta.
True. Everyone would have lost to Atlanta, but then also it's not 28-0.
Yeah.
You can't lose the map and go 28-0 though.
No. I'm saying if no one loses, what I'm saying here.
Oh, if no one loses to Atlanta,
then it doesn't matter, right? Because it's just like, well, okay, well, that's a thing.
That is true.
Well, we're going to be heading into Havana. You want to talk about a map where you could see some shenanigans on first, whether it be an aggressive camp directly right into you or bunker setups. First defense can get a little bit wild.
And if you think the first defense is wild, then you get to the second defense where you have the unbreakable diva hold of the hangar, where it could test the cart. So I think that there's multiple very strong defenses here for Havana. We even saw it, the last game right before this, Square 1 versus Gladiators Legion, we saw some crazy, 6 CP almost happening there.
All right, the gates are open, and Atlanta trying to play the really aggressive defense, but Gator down immediately. Phase 2 just punishing, and it seemed like a bit of an overextension.
A little bit of overextension. They lost that initial trade war with the duels, towards the health. And when you lose health and barriers very early, you sort of have to back up. A lot of times you have to give space. And remember, Atlanta's playing Somber Goats right now. They're not playing Standard 3-3, so there is less eat from the Diva. They don't have that extra shield presence, all based off Saucy getting the poke and trying to get value hacks before the EMP's up. And Phase 2 punishing that.
More than that, they were just up way too aggressively for running the Sombra. The other team overpowers you. That said, Sock's a little bit far up himself. And now Atlanta with man advantage, but Gator again, a little bit far forward. Atlanta not solidifying their advantage. Phase 2, though, still pretty wounded to where they're not exactly looking to dive back into Atlanta, and Saucy's built a very quick EMP.
EMP level for Atlanta Academy here. They've had that recontest off the pick from Sox. They've stopped the push. And holding here at the hill is great, because if they can continue to hold aggressively and make this cart roll back, they can even get another recontest potentially. They're looking for EMP now.
Saucy holding on to EMP, drops it. Very nice Transcendence in from Nishik. Perfectly timed. Gives Phase 2 a chance. This fight, they take down Gator again. Gator out of the fight. Shatter coming in from the other side and Dan's. Knocks down Funny Astro. This is so good from Phase 2. What a good play from Nishik.
Phase 2 now going to be taking first. There's not going to be a recontest possible for Atlanta because the spawner is going to be staggered. And even if they do decide to recontest, how do they win this fight? How do they win the recontest unless Hawk's grab is fantastic? And with Saucy going down now, they're already down a player. They definitely should not recontest. They should set up for the second hold and have this aggressive chokehold.
Yeah, we talked about when we were watching the Square 1 game, right, is that it's never good to just suicide to try and hold point A when point B here is so incredible if you can hold over the top. But look at the pressure coming on in. Hawk already very low. Bomb directly to the backside. Atlanta lucky to just back out here. Hawk still super low. Finally gets the armor pack, but Hawk is under enormous amounts of pressure. Phase 2 still going in, and Gator's down. Gator was looking for the shatter. Doesn't come up with what he's looking for. Meanwhile, Dan super low. Saucy able to finish it. Atlanta looking to rotate back on in. The Rhine trade actually working okay for Atlanta here as Kodak and Hawk have some room to work with. Reminder,
the cart must move if you wish to win the game, and at no point was Phase 2 touching the cart ZP. There was zero cart presence. Phase 2's plan from the looks of it was they wanted those early stagger kills. They wanted to get those early frags and break the first hold, which is great. But not only do they not win it, but they don't move cart at all during that. And now Atlanta have stabilized. They have an EMP, and it's an EMP grab versus the double support of Phase 2, and they really have to have that distance. Make sure they can't get caught. Left in particular just can't get caught. But it doesn't matter because he is caught.
Sugar Free getting the early pickoff, and the important thing here is that Saucy should be able to save EMP here. This is a very ult-lean fight for Atlanta because of the early pickup from Sugar Free, and this just gets real tough for Phase 2 because Atlanta now can fully set up in one of the hardest areas to break on Havana.
They can hold this choke aggressively. They can use the geography to their advantage. They have EMP, they have grab, and now Phase 2 is at risk of running into the Sombra Goats ult economy just pit of death, where you get grabbed, half the trance, then you get EMP'd. You get EMP'd, half the beat, then you get grabbed. So there's a huge bomb for Phase 2 when we move forward, and they're going to have to pretty much outbid it with the grab their own.
Well, they try and open up with the grab. It's going to be answered by the Transcendence. Atlanta still holding on to their big guns. Use the EMP and grab at the same time. Not the worst here for Phase 2. Phase 2, they drop the beat later in the fight. Still not enough to save Nishik, and they're throwing some good resources into a fight that is unlikely to be broken here. Atlanta holding this choke point very strong. Now Atlanta, they decide to move out. This is risky.
This is extremely risky. They're going to come, they're going to push. It looks like it's going to work out in the end. And the ult economy cycle continues. Atlanta ult economy is going to be, let's get grab, let's get EMP, and let's keep trading, which is exactly what happened there. The grab came out early for phase 2, hoping they could get the pick, but they weren't able to get the pick, and then because of the grab forces Nishik's trance, then the Evie comes out, and slowly but surely Atlanta, just from that one pick, are able to win it.
So Atlanta, 2 minutes away from a hold here on point B, phase 2, getting fully stymied all the while, and as you say, they're kind of stuck in this ult cycle washing machine.
The washing machine waits for no man. It just continues endlessly, building the ults that you hate to deal with, EMP and grab. Phase 2 looking to come up on the high ground and set up this engage. They need to try to break this hold now if they can with A10's grab.
Well, phase 2 trying the exact opposite approach. They use the Graviton early. Going to be answered by the beat from Astro at the top. Saucy still hanging on to the EMP. And oh, Saucy taken down before the EMP comes in. But there's Gator. Drops the Shatter. And this actually could be really good for Atlanta. They win without using the EMP. Saucy's pickoff works out so well for them.
The engage was good for phase 2. They recognize, like, let's use a grab. It's a free grab, no diva. Gator dropping a lot of smashing pumpkin emotes so far this game, but he's making it work because he's been doing a lot, and that Shatter sealed the fate for phase 2 in that push, putting everyone on the ground, getting those cleanups, and now phase 2 have no ults versus the ult washing machine, the ult cycle of doom of Atlanta Academy.
I really don't know how phase 2 wins this fight other than Atlanta just having a gigantic throne. The problem for phase 2 is you're running out of time. There's only a minute left. So Nishik, you have Transcendence, but pick your poison. Do you have a good Transcendence for CMP? You die to grab, and vice versa. Heavy poke damage coming in. Graviton going to be used first. Nishik going in with the Transcendence, but already they still pick off one off the grab. Saucy holding on to the EMP. 2 are down, and the CMP gets saved for what's going to be the final fight where there will be no Transcendence.
Sox going to get staggered here a little late. Not a huge stagger by any means, as Atlanta chasing the spawn. Hey, Astro's at the doors. Astro's like, give me the bubble, I'm going in. Now going to back up. So Atlanta have held on to their EMP. They still have Shatter. So there's still an EMP Shatter. And EMP Shatter is a very, very good ult combination, especially while there's no trance on the field for phase 2. Sock's going to go Ana, actually. No more Brigida. Their hopes that they can get a nade, maybe a sleep to sustain, because they know that this EMP, that the Shatter is coming.
Phase 2 needs a miracle. Pika just getting absolutely melted on the outskirts here. Final 5 seconds for phase 2. They need to get to the point. They need to go through the EMP. They're going through the obstacle course of doom. As Atlanta just casually holding back and testing a payload. EMP out. Don's in a real danger here. It's a good beat coming out. This is going to be enough to save it. Just might be. Graviton in from Atlanta, though, right after. And there's nothing left to deal with the grab. The ult economy of Atlanta too strong. They drop the beat to be sure. And that is going to be a hold here in point B from Atlanta Academy.
And that is what we like to call, as we've now termed, the ultimate washing machine of doom, the ult cycle of doom, whatever you want to call it. The dry, the rinse, the repeat. It's done. And that's the strength of Sombra Goats. When you set up a hold, if you can get that ult economy cycling where you grab, force trance, then EMP after, it's a lot harder to get value for a reactionary beat to keep your team alive post-EMP than it is to use it proactively. And that's sort of the strength of Sombra Goats. And phase 2 just were never able to beat it with the opportunities they had when A10 had grab, because when grab is available, you know, there's no diva to eat. They just weren't able to break the hold.
Particularly there for point B as well, where it's just so incredibly difficult for the offense, because the entire terrain there, from the ability to just contest the payload from the back in an area that you can't really easily get to, from the fact that any rotation around to get the high ground takes so much time, it is a very difficult area to get through. And then when you're just having to deal with the entire part of usually doing it in an ult economy disadvantaged situation where either an EMP is going to get you or a grab's going to get you, and you're relying essentially on a miracle play, right? Where someone potentially feeds, maybe you get a really good boop to disrupt. It's a very hard area for an offense to get through, and phase 2, they just weren't able to find the answer.
Atlanta now going to be on this offense. Might be running out on this bunker type of strategy here again. So really, when you look at the setup, they could play the Sombra Goats once again. You know, you get 1 fight for first, 1 fight for second, in your fine spot. Really just depends on how they want to play it. Sugarfree going to be on the Widow. Probably just going to go for the peak and then swap. Oh, not even going to go for the peak. Just going to go back to Brigida. So 3-3 for Atlanta. Phase 2 going to be holding close on the doors, running a 3-3 of their own.
I think running 3-3 here is smart early on. You don't want to lose power for power. I think Atlanta got a little bit over aggro on their defense for running the Sombra. But now, again, it's 3-3 versus 3-3, and Atlanta, pretty good at these neutral fights already. Dan's getting very, very low, under heavy pressure. Shield getting low quite as well. And you look at this, finally the poke goes on in. Zarya falling on the other side, A10 out, and Atlanta just winning the neutral fight very convincingly.
Left will pick up one. Is actually Kodak. Oh my goodness! Kodak does go down. I thought he was going to lose the Baby Diva duel. That is the power of the Swain hitbox for Baby Diva. I'm sure that Kodak kicking himself a little bit there. Going to be bringing up, though, very close to the spawn doors. So already a trance going to be available for Kodak. Moving to the fight, phase 2. Following close, Nishik close on that Transcendent Heals. No ults really just yet for either team. So another neutral fight, maybe with some trances being traded.
Well, neutral fight, definitely something good for phase 2 here. A10, though, very far behind. And Hawk already just dives on the Zen in the back. Call it the email as Atlanta just moves in, gets easy cleanup. And sometimes you just get hit with the Angry Titans.
You do, and you also, it's a situation that should never happen, ZP. We've talked about it previously, but when you have all the peel from Brigida, from Armor Pack, from Lucio, under no circumstances your Xin should ever be able to go down to a solo dive from a Diva when your team's all around and has those cooldowns up. But Hawk just saw the opportunity, he saw the early damage on Nishik and just took it. And there was and the peel just wasn't there in time.
And the dangerous part for phase 2 is that now they're heading into a scenario where they basically can't lose any more fights. They're going to move on in. They're going to try and contest the last part of point A, but this is so dangerous because they lose this fight. The Shatter comes on in. It forces out the Transcendence. And now you take a look at Saucy. The Graviton, so good and ready here if it's even needed. Sox is down. And all right, Saucy take it down. There won't be a grab. But Dan's under heavy fire. Atlanta still much healthier in this fight. Graviton going to be used here for phase 2. Sugar Free under fire. A10 gets 1, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Astro's got a 3, 4. Astro got 4 kills in that fight. Darth that, getting the 5, his team's like, wait, let me get that. That is going to be 5 for Astro. Darth Astro getting 5 kills, a lot of cleanup.
So Atlanta in a really good spot, no doubt, aided by Astro there towards the end. And now Atlanta, just a little bit to go, 4 minutes, and Astro gets another!
That's the 6 kills.
Chain.
He can't stop, he's still going. He's like, guys, I need to frag. I am Lucio, I must frag.
I must go forward. I must boost my damage statistics. However, the rest of you have fallen, but not me. I'm too quick to be caught.
They did overcommit. Atlanta probably chased a little too deep. Astro was calling for it. We had to get these frags. We had to get the limbs up. Because of it, though, they now do not have that forward control. They also have to deal with this first hold that's happening for phase 2. And they've equalized their ults a little bit, but overall, Atlanta has a much stronger ult economy.
Atlanta going up to the top. Now, phase 2, they are in a pretty decent position. The same that Atlanta was in. The problem is that economy-wise, Atlanta's in a better spot than phase 2 ever was. A round to go. Phase 2 right now, just really starting to get poked down in the neutral war. The shield already almost down as the grab sets up. Here comes a bomb over the top. It's right in the middle of everything. The beat comes out. It's going to keep phase 2 alive, but they have to overlay support out some Shatter. In from Gator, knocks down 2. Hey, Gator's there with his own follow-through. Shatter in from the other side from Dan's. Evens it up, 5-on-5, phase 2. Fighting for their very lives, going around. 8-10, charged up and ready to go.
A10 doing so much damage on the high ground now. See the shield pressure onto Gator as well. The bomb's out, forcing Atlanta to scatter. I don't know how they win the fight. Gator gets the pin. Yes, but look at A10. He's still there. He's going to drop the grab to clean up. I don't even think the grab was necessary. Astro dropping the beat.
Well, he drops the grab and forces out the beat, so if nothing else, it's not wasted, even if it wasn't necessary. Phase 2, you look at A10, well supported, still high energy, looking for Sugar Free on the side, and Sugar Free, not a lot of places to go, and A10 not going to chase it down.
Phase 2 can be happy about that engagement because they hold on to this choke, to this forward hold still, and they can't lose the fight because also if they had lost that fight, the series would have been over anyways. The cart's so close to the objective. But removing Astro's beat with that grab is fine because A10, historically, and also just in general, go to your Zarya should be outbuilding beat with the grab.
So Atlanta still 2.5 minutes to go, but this is promising for phase 2, more so than you would have thought after how the first point went. And funny, Astro finds another, he just chases down Nishik. Astro, his aggression cannot be stopped. Good boop off onto the line, even as the Shatter comes in. I don't think it's enough to save the team, though. Astro going back over and in, and Dan just cleans up. 3 for Dan's.
You know Astro has to be like, guys, I'm out sniping the Zen, like I'm getting these frags, like let's pick it up, can't let it dead and Shatter everybody. Good Shatter, though, from Dan's, and even with the boop off from Astro, the cleanup is there for phase 2. Dan's sort of saving the day with that one after they lost Nishik early. Nishik's going to have his trance. They're going to have the rally. There's ults up for phase 2. Atlanta now without the bomb, too, which is such a key finisher, such a key space creator.
Shatter coming in from Gator, and it does precious little. Phase 2 shrugs off, but it does force out the Transcendence. I mean, Saucy can have an opportunity here. Pin in from Gator, connects. 6-on-5. Graviton out here from A10. Saucy grab as well. And Pika gets 4! A much bigger combo from phase 2.
Pika gets essentially 5 with the D-Mech, and now they're staggering Hawk. Pika saving the day. No matter the pin from Gator removing that rally so early, the bomb was just massive. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. The bomb was massive. Atlanta, they're in a real situation where they can lose the map now. This hold is looking increasingly strong.
28-0 is at risk. They might not even be 4-0. Phase 2. fighting for their lives here on Havana. Final minute in play. And this is where variability can really rear its head. Nothing is guaranteed here from Atlanta. They're not even working in at an advantage. This is where they need to just dominate the neutral and hope to make their own opportunity.
And the longer this fight is going to happen, the less likely there's another fight. We're already in last fight territory right now.
Sox is down!
Bye-bye, Sox! But there's still ult available for phase 2. There's the beat.
Beat coming in here for phase 2. Phase 2 going at the beat, moving on over. Gator down on the floor from the shatter from Dan's. And Gator's out of there. Graviton in from A10. Phase 2, are they going to do it? The Transcendence in from Atlanta. They're fighting it back. Sugar Free getting into the fray. Takes down Lucio. And Atlanta saying, no. We're still in this. They're waiting for Gator to come back in. He's getting the shadow. He does Astro. Just moving forward. And Atlanta winning the poke battle right now. Sox emergency Doomfist looking for Kodak. And no, taking on down. Gator back into the fight. And Atlanta, final 5 seconds still here in the payload. But this looks like it's going to be their fight. And they do it. Atlanta 4-0. But it was not easy.
It was not easy. Taken to the brink there. Despite the hero plays from Pika, from A10, from Dan's, Atlanta finally get the fight they won. And what was looking like a very winnable fight again for phase 2. Because they had set, Gator goes for the charge when that beat goes out for Astro, gets shattered by Dan's while mid-charge, and gets cleaned up when the trance was unable to save him. But at the end of the day, this is the focus fire. The focus fire was a lot better. Kodak had that transcendence to keep them alive through A10's grab, so they didn't have a fight-winning ult that they needed. And Atlanta, they keep the streak going. The 28-0, it's alive. It's alive.
The 28-0 dream is still there.
28-0 Astro, it's alive.
And I think the key difference between the two teams for me is that it's the entire element of what's happening before ults are involved, right? You talked about the focus fire. It's just pickoffs happening with no ults, just, hey, we got your Brigitte for free, or Astro has just soloed your Zenyatta with a little bit of help on the outskirts. And Atlanta kept getting those moments. And that's what kept them alive. That's what made up for mistakes, perhaps, in ult economy from time to time. But again, for a team that wants to go 28-0, this was not the start I think Atlanta wanted.
No, it was not the start. Definitely not. You can't expect pickoffs like that. You can't expect Astro to solo kill the Zen against your Envies, right? Obviously, Envy not in their group, but against stronger teams in general, you shouldn't expect that to be happening. You shouldn't expect getting key pickoffs all the time and goats. Like, as a top-tier team, will they do that? Yes. But against other top-tier teams, that's not necessarily expected, nor should you expect it, because you should be cleaner than that to get that 20-0. That's your end goal.
Well, Atlanta, for now, the quest continues. They open up with the W. We still have one more match to go here, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.